from your first session, and I had a comment from a school, an SHS school counselor, who said the interview was full of great lessons, and it's a plus. And I think congratulations for your journey so far. Now, if you can give us a brief overview.
Thank you.
Great. If you can give us a brief overview of last week, 2 week session, so in case those who are now watching this for the first time, they could really catch up.
All right, thank you, viewers, and then thank you, Mr. Aaron Lordstone, and then the organization for this opportunity. Once again, it's always a privilege. Yeah, it's always a privilege to share, and then to serve as a kind of motivation and encouragement to somebody. I'm sure there are a lot of people who might have fallen through my channel of education and channel of life journey so far. So it's always an opportunity to share. So in our first part, I actually dealt more on how I moved from my childhood dreams of becoming the kind of elite professions in the society, or the society perceived them. So I wanted to become a medical doctor. And then the first part I didn't mention this, but I think I have to say it here. I wanted to become a cardiologist. I wanted to work with the hearts.
Wow.
So I just don't know. I felt in love with it. I think I had watched a documentary where a doctor who was a cardiologist was talking about the profession, and then how it was kind of real in our part of the world, and then the kind of work they do and all those things. And I realized that the heart almost controls our blood pumping and all the arteries and then the veins with all this. So the heart was more or less like a key function in the human body. So I fell in love with it, and I wanted to move into that field. So anytime I was asked in those days, what do you want to become? I said, I want to become a cardiologist. The people were like, what is that? Some didn't even know what it was, but it was like a jargon I was using, you know. But then after SS, I had to better my grades, you know. It didn't really put me down. I thought that it's part of life journey. You don't really kind of get it smooth all the way. So when I had to better my grades so that I can go and pursue my medicine, I didn't hesitate at all. I started the remedial classes and stuff. I was doing some of those courses. But then an auntie of mine who was operating an educational center which linked students to foreign university came home, saw me around, and saw the way I talk about my passion, what I want to do and all that. And he said, oh, why don't I come and then work in the environment for some time? She is an educationalist herself. So when I went there, my primary position or my primary duty was to mime the front office. It is now the front office executive. I was to mime it. But they had a lab, a computer lab in the facility. Anytime she reports to the office, I always report earlier than the normal starting of normal working hours. Now, anytime she reports to work, she will not meet me at the front office, but she will meet me at the computer lab. And it had happened for a couple of times. So once in the morning she came, and then she called me that she sees that my interest has shifted from the medical field into the computer world. So do I want to still pursue my medical aspiration, pharmacy or medical doctor and stuff? I said, oh, I think for now the thing has switched to the computer side. So I want to pursue the computer and see what might come out of it. So they had a lot of foreign universities and foreign educational institutions that I had to run through their prospectus, their brochures, their programs, and it was kind of opening me to a lot of the IT field, the computer science areas. And I started understanding the IT world itself. And then this like some years ago, and then I saw what IT was going to become in some years to come. And I said, oh, so I wanted to learn a bit of every industry. And then to be able to do that, I realized that IT was going to be the wheels on which all these industries are going to operate. And today, here we are. IT is running this interview. Here we are working from home. It's being run on IT. And so I just said, okay, I think I will fall in love with this. So I have to dive into this one. And she said, all right, she's seen that one also. She's seen that I've actually moved from my initial aspiration or my initial childhood dreams of becoming a doctor, but I think now she sees me clinging more to this IT thing. So she gave me that opportunity. And then I pursued some courses in the IT field, which pushed me to the tertiary section, and then some other professional IT courses. And in the course of doing my IT duties, try running good customer relations and customer services when someone has an issue with his IT gadget or IT device at the workplace, how I approached it, how I reported it, how I solved it, gave me that inner gifting and talent of communication and actually communicating to people to suit them, to make them feel at ease in the event of a challenge. Then there came my other part, which I didn't know I had it, was to run smoothly an event by being the master of ceremonies. And for the years I've been in it, combining both the IT and then the MCing, it has both opened opportunity jobs for me. Sometimes I'll go into undertake an IT project, and at the end of the day, an MC job will come through the IT part. Sometimes I'll go for an MC job, and then an IT job will also come through it. And that has even built me up to run my own channel on YouTube, which I normally talk about cyber security awareness, because now we have all been converged at the place the cyber criminals have always been wanting us all to be, and that's the internet. So it has also helped me to communicate well my ideas and then my knowledge to give awareness to people. So a recap of our first part is this. Thank you, Mr. Hero.
Very loaded, and more flesh has been added to it. And from what you said, can we then conclude that pursuing a career along your talent is very, very important? I'm saying this on the backdrop of what you said, that the exposure your auntie gave you really became the conduit to shift your initial desire from pursuing that cardiologist you needed or you wanted to be, to now having seen a desire or an ability in IT that you just click. That at that point, you the things you were even doing easily could tell that no, you are so much into this area than the initial thoughts of career you had in mind. So how important is talent to career planning?
Okay, so one, as the scripture says, it is he who causes us both to will and to do. And so the talent is there. The talent is actually there. But it depends on the environment that will be created for the talent to easily come up. And once the talent come up from that environment, is then left with how that talent has to be skilled. I always say this, just like a young guy whom I met at the beach who can sketch very, very well. This is what he does. Most often you see him at the beach and he'll be sketching at the seashore. And he does it so close to, the sea. So you get there and he sketches something. And then, the people that are around him will all go like, wow, this is beautiful. Wow, Ajete, Ofe, you've done it. This is lovely. And then within some few seconds, the sea waves rolls over what he has sketched and everything diminishes. And for us who were admiring it, we are like, this thing is gone. Wow, this thing is gone. And because he has that talent, He didn't feel as we were feeling. He said, oh, don't worry, don't worry. I will redraw it again. And within some few seconds, he will sketch another thing, which is even more appealing than the first one. You see, he wasn't feeling how we were feeling. We felt like this is real talent gone waste by the sea waves. And that is how talent and then the individual behaves or reacts. So whilst he was drawing it, that's a talent. The environment had been given to him, but the tools with which he was using wasn't the best of tools for that talent he had. So he could always go to the beach, draw it, and have about 10 people admiring his work piece. And that work piece always dies at the beach shore. The people goes and carry what they saw, but they don't carry a portrait of what he has done to be like a witness to what he can do. Yet, so the talent will be there, but when the environment is not created or when the environment has not been given, the talent might not show forth for you to be able to get the requisite education or knowledge about that talent so you can scale it. So it doesn't become like a one-off thing. I mean, you can easily do it today and tomorrow you go off, tomorrow you are there, tomorrow you are not there. You know, once you identify that talent, it needs to be scaled.
Great.
You need to do a lot of work about that talent so that it becomes an asset.
Great.
A lot of people have talent, but it's not an asset. You understand it? Yeah. So I think it is very, very critical and very important. Once you identify the talent, there should be the scaling.
Great. Great. So the skill takes us to branding ourselves into the type of career we need to pursue. I believe that's it. Now,
yeah, exactly.
Coming to our educational system where it is so strict and we all bury our heads looking into books rather than really experimenting with our abilities and learning through play and all those kind of stuffs. Compared to Ajete, who at the sea environment could really exhibit his abilities and was taking it for fun. And at that point, people even didn't appreciate the power of that gift he had. So looking at it from these two angles, where those who go to school are not given the right exposure to be able to pursue careers and courses that will sharpen that innate ability they already have. I believe if Ajete were to be in the normal school setting, they would have shifted Ajete to go and do maybe science instead of maybe visual arts, because his ability is already in the visual arts environment. So is our school system really helping us, especially with the kind of environment we are now, where the nature of work have shifted from a manual and mechanical approach to a very creative, instant mind thinking ability to be able to resolve problems, and how is our current education really shaping us? Is it helping, or what else do you think we can do to really bring talents to bear in the courses we study and the careers we want to pursue?
Yeah, beautiful. You see, our system has been shaped in a way that there are some elite courses. Yeah, so when you don't fall within that elite group, that means, hey, that is it. You've messed it up. But looking at this software or this application we are using, is as a result of creativity.
Beautiful.
So I chanced on Ambassador Dr. Prince Hilton, which I've spoken to you about, and he's a visual artist. And when he started opening up the visual arts or the creative arts courses and the industry to me, I was blown away. I was like, wow. And we just limit it only painting and sculpture and only that part. Someone goes to school to learn or do. For me, I always say, okay, yeah, I had that aspiration of becoming a medical doctor, so I went to do science. But if this other talent in me was discovered earlier, I'm sure I might not have done science. Maybe I would have gone to do pure arts.
Yes.
Pure arts, and I would have done literature. Because now I go to programs. Yes,
That's
general arts. Yeah.
Pure art is the visual arts environment. But general art, that's
general
when
arts.
you see the literature, your power and skill in writing and the use of words to communicate will be sharpening and making you ready for the scope of work. Direct.
Straight. And you see, in every aspect, in every industry, there is communication. There is communication. So, for instance, I go for an event, and most event opening determines how the event is going to go.
Great.
So if you don't have a great intro, you're either going to dampen the whole program. And this is an asset. It's an asset of words, using words, combining words.
Beautiful.
You understand? So if I've gone in that direction, I'm sure by now I would have been on a different pedestal.
Beautiful.
With my introduction and then with my exit from an event. You understand? It is now that I'm in the field, I have to sharpen my skill by learning all these things or getting all these things to bear. You understand it? And there are times I get francophone events. I'm not so well or so good in speaking French, but I'm sure if I had done that course, I would have been introduced to the other languages, which I can now do bilingual kind of event hosting. You get it? So the system has not been opened so well to elaborate more on this other aspect. I mean, every child at the crèche or at the junior level can sketch something, can draw something. What happens to them when they now move from crèche to primary to secondary to university? Then all those drawings, all those sketches goes away. And these are creativity. I told you in our first part that I was doing so well with life skills, and there's creativity in life skills.
Yes.
There's creativity there. So if I had gotten that opportunity, if I had been exposed to some of these things at that early part, I'm sure I would have gone in for these courses that would have also opened me more to what I'm currently doing, because writing speeches. I mean, I have people who did general arts and they majored in literature and all that, and then some of them are like Germany, or there's no way. But you see, you can draft a speech for a CEO. You can draft the speech for the manager. You can draft the speech for even an MC for the event that the MC is going to handle, and that is going to be his guideline, his yardstick, to be able to communicate so well with a guest there. It's not just going to create. It's not that you are going to run a comedy show there. You're going to communicate. You see, once in a while you drop in a humor that lightens up the place. But this is pure communication. You are dealing with people from different walks of life. So your communication skills needs to be upped. So when you've done that and this person comes to attach him or herself to you, you are on a different level. All your speeches, all your intros, all that you're going to communicate to your guests or even communicating to your customers needs to be guarded. And that is the real job, or that's the real flair of someone who have studied that language, who have learned the dynamics of that language. Then the creativity aspect comes in there, and then you have a beautiful picture, or you have a colorful event at the end of the day. So I think there should be some kind of elaboration and detailed picturing of the courses that we have, so that we are not capped in just a few. That will limit all of us trying to go and be the same person or trying to do the same thing. Yeah.
Beautiful. You've spoken a lot, and there are very important things you made mention of. And you know, with what you just said, it means that there are courses we can study that will just ignite that ability in us to excel in life without struggling.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, as a life coach, if you go and you are talking to people and you are telling them this reality, they say, oh, it's not necessary. You just go and study any other course. Now, that also brings to mind why we have a lot of graduate unemployment. Because when you study a course along your abilities and talents, you don't struggle to find solutions. No, it just comes naturally. You develop abilities in the course of learning. You see, what we learn, they are so practical in our world. And it sets as a basis to build on other knowledge and other inventions and other things that must come. But unfortunately, because we are not seeing the linkage in the course we study, preparing us for careers and for the real life of growth, then we spend our years in school only to come waiting to be employed with our certificate that has nothing to do with our abilities. So, dear viewer, if you are watching this, I want you to take this very serious. If you're a school counselor, please, career guidance and course selection is very important. Engage us. As life coaches, we spent years to do research and have concrete templates we can guide our children for the future in which we find ourselves. If you're a parent, please don't force your career on your child, because the dispensation we are, it is very critical. The abilities already wired in that child by God must be utilized. It must be utilized. Other than that, all your amount you are spending on your child will be wasted. And you may think that it's a child that is unintelligent or not, don't do enough to get work to do. No, it's because of the foundation that was faulty. Beautiful.
Sure.
I want us to look at the dynamics of the need for career guidance experts in our education system, where we now have a new curriculum. Now, thank God, they say JHS, SS starts from JHS. So after that, you start narrowing directly into the careers you need to pursue, the courses you need to pursue. This is a very fantastic curriculum.
Beautiful.
I think I need you to throw light on it. That I think we need experts to really fill this vacuum, that when a child in JHS is going to select a course in SS, they need experts to engage them, and not just people who just come and talk and say, oh, I'm an accountant, and these are the professions or the things you can do in accounting. I've been doing well, therefore you can also come and do it. Do we need experts who can do that? I need your view on that.
Sure. You see, mostly, as you just said, some parents want to force what they were doing or what they've done onto their children because they feel that they've traveled that journey and then they've seen the ins and outs of it also. When their children do that, there's that possibility they can help them pull their hands through. But this is the thing. I mean, you should also understand that you are a different person from your child. And the child will have different innate talents that they also have to develop. So I think that professional counseling and professional coaching is really, really needed to be able to guide them in making the right choices, in making the right. And then you see the education system also. I mean, how often does the system help even the teachers and the parents to identify some of these giftings and talents of the students? You understand? I remember back in school when I wanted to participate in athletics, and they were like, "Hey, science student, you don't need to do this kind of things because it's not for a science student to participate in other activities. I love to play volley, but I wasn't given that chance because they said science students, you are serious, you are this, you need to focus on your books and stuff." So this career counseling and professionalism in choosing courses, if not even say choosing the courses, guidance can help the child to make that right decision so that it doesn't become a burden. Back in school, I had a junior who was doing general arts. No, he was doing science. First year, second year, he went home, told his parents, and in the arts class, he was a top. No, in the science class, he was part of the first 10. First 10 for the student population of about 300. He was part of the first 10. He was doing science. Second year, he went to told the parents that he doesn't feel that the course he's doing is what he really wants to do. He feels that he wants to do arts. Wants to do the general arts. And it was a bit of a challenge. But when I think the parents sought counsel and advice from professionals and stuff, and then they came to that conclusion, and then he showed ability. So the next term when he was coming to school, he came in not in the science class, but he went in the arts class. And you know what? The first time for the arts students, he was there. He felt so happy. He felt so happy doing the course. He felt so, he was more or less like he was liberated. Yeah. And when you speak with him, you feel that joy and excitement that he's now doing what he loves to do and what he can easily do. And when we chat with some of his mates, they tell you in class, this guy, we don't know what kind of person he is. The courses he didn't even join us to do in our previous years, he even understands it.
Beautiful. That is the
thing.
That is the thing. Now, I'll link this directly to excellence in career pursuits. Excellence in career pursuits. A lot of people are working, but they are frustrated. They are complaining. This work is tedious. My boss is like this. My boss is like. Ecclesiastes has made mention of some of these things. How we become, our work stress us, and yet because of the money, we stay put and still are complaining. So there's low productivity, there's high dissatisfaction, and all that. So people are not growing in the course of their work. People are not seeing satisfaction, and even the money they get, they are not seeing what they are using it for. Do you think that if they get the right career guidance and course selection, and they find themselves in the environment where they are exhibiting the right energy, don't you think Africa can be a better continent if we take guidance very seriously course of work?
Straight up. That you just nailed it. That's the whole thing. Because I always complain. Sometimes you see I will complain. Or some of my colleagues in the IT field, but these guys, can't they just do this thing? Are you on the phone? Maybe they are solving an issue. Are you on the phone? I said, press this, do this. So you are not seeing that. You are not seeing. The next morning, you see him happily running back to the office to do the same thing.
Beautiful.
It's not that he is not enthused about what he's doing. He loves it. There are some of us for IT, some IT, pure IT technical brains will merely overlook reporting lines for administration purposes. A client or a customer or your staff will call you in your server room somewhere and you tell you, my system is down, my this. I do processes through the IT delivery chain, is that you report this issue, they log it, and then it goes through the right channels so that whoever solves it is assigned to that person, the person solves it. Now, this call gets to the person in there, and he says, well, my network is off, I'm not doing this. And thank you.
This is a very important discussion we are having, and I believe policymakers, parents, and teachers, and heads of institutions will see the need for these dynamics.
Very, very necessary. Very, very important.
The dynamic of the reality of today has changed.
It has moved.
Looking for freedom, work in an environment where they can exhibit their natural ability off head, rather than burying themselves in an environment they don't see themselves in. So at the end of the day, they are only there for the money and not really the work.
Yeah.
As an employer,
Job
what are you doing?
satisfaction.
What are you doing? So please continue. So as you were saying.
Yeah, so as you say, yeah, so you see, he will just sidestep that, and then for the supervisor, the supervisor may feel that he didn't go according to plan. He didn't go according to the work procedures. But you see, this is the thing. His joy is to see that thing resolved. That's his joy. That's his job. So now it's up to you to be able to coach him or put in some structures that will be able to capture all these things. Because for him, he's feel like, why is that the gadget is not working? He will pick it and you will even forget all that he's doing and make sure that he solved that issue for you to be at ease in doing that. So anytime he gets up, he might come and complain, these people, he did it. And he'll be talking to you as if the one he resolved the issue for is supposed to understand the technicalities just as he understands it. Then the next moment, the one you actually saw him complaining that you feel that maybe he's fed up with his job, he's just there again, happily resolving an issue for somebody. So for them, the joy is to see that the thing is resolved, the thing is solved. But for somebody, that's not the job. The joy is not to see the thing resolved. He is trying to find out why did that thing happen? And if you solve it today, tomorrow it might come again. And, and that's his job. And he gets frustrated because this person is not going through the channel which he wants him to. But for him, the thing is resolved and I'm done, I'm going my way. So that kind of job satisfaction is very, very key. He can get up in the morning and walk into his office place, he's happy because he knows he's going to face these challenges, and for him, no challenge will escape him. He will solve those challenges. You understand? So that job satisfaction plays a key role. It plays a key role. When he's not satisfied, wakes up in the morning and is like, so today I'm going back to that office again. Today I'm going, the guidance is needed.
And this takes us to solution-oriented work environment, where a person who studied a course directly along their abilities find themselves in a career where their focus and highest expectation at the workplace is solving a solution, solving a problem. Their highest point of satisfaction is that problem has been solved, compared to someone who just study any course, doesn't even find him or herself in the long haul, and wanting to follow a procedure and things are not going through. Instead of him looking at how to solve it, he gets frustrated by being guided to solve it. And I think looking at Africa, we have a lot of problems. We have so much problems that if we can marry talent and education very well, there's a Ben, I believe we will set our children and the economy on a path of growth and development that even the white man will be very scared. So scared of the African. Rather than looking down on us and we going to them always begging, and we even come and we don't even see what we are using that money for, what we've gone to beg for. I'm so glad for the interview and for the information that has come out. If you have any further comments you can make, or if you want to summarize, you have the floor to do so.
You see, I love the whole thing. It's bringing a lot of things back to memory.
Yes.
I think you remember back in school. I remember back in school we were doing reflection through 60 degrees, 90 degrees, 360. We're doing gradients. This is the thing. Whilst we're doing all those things, trust me, I wasn't getting what all this thing was about. I wasn't really understanding it until until later on. later on in my course of studying and stuff,
Yeah.
I think I was yes, in the IT field, we're doing some project. And I think in my choice of words, I just said, oh, we have to do it such way that so that we can get the correct sloping of this device. Because the way it has been positioned, if we don't slope it, we might not get the right signals or something of that sort. There, slope ingredient way back in school was now becoming real to me.
Beautiful.
So I was like, so all those years I didn't get it. Now, a typical example is most of our senior secondary school bathhouse has a slope, or they use that gradient kind of thing, so that once we bath up there, the whole water flows this way to the main tunnel and goes. And that was an example that probably the maths teacher could have used to explain what a slope or this gradient was for me to understand it. And it would have easily served a good purpose for technical skills when we're doing technical skills. It could have also bridged that gap straight away, but we are always giving imaginary stuff and we don't even see it. We don't understand it.
Yes. And is it that is the case because teachers who do not find themselves teaching the courses they are naturally wired for cannot think beyond what is written in the textbook. They only give it to you and force you to understand. But a teacher who is teaching in that field will give you a lot of examples that are already in our environment.
Yes.
So writing and application becomes so real. You can take it even when years you can remember that, oh, this is it.
Yeah, this is what I did.
There has been a challenge in our system. I believe some of this discourse will open many people's mind to see the need for talent education. That set us right on the path of careers we are wired for. That will give us the inner fulfillment and growth we need in life.
Yeah.
Straight. It's a way. I know the plans I have for you. God has already planned our lives. What we need to do is discover. And when we discover that talents and gifts, and we start educating ourselves along it,
exactly,
we will not struggle like the way we are doing. We will not. But interestingly enough, there is one other thing I want to put across. And this has to do with the fact that our education system doesn't give room for creativity. Learning has become just chew and pull. So a child grows, finish school without the mind being developed to be creative, to understand and analyze information logically. So then what's the essence of schooling? What's the essence of education? And these education plays a very major role in who will become, because it's already there. It just needs to refine us. It just needs to refine that ability God has given you. So when we don't educate ourselves along those abilities, then what are we doing to ourselves as a nation, as families? And it starts right from the home. It starts right at the school. Before you even get a job to do at the workplace, and then now we can even talk about the government who is not doing well, who is that. But focus have shifted to the government at the expense of what everyone must do in their life. I really want to appreciate you for this discourse. And it's straightforward. We are not hiding any information from you, dear viewer. We are not hiding and pretending as though there is something extra special than what we are seeing. These are the best that if we can tailor our lives to look for the right information, guide our children along this path, believe you me, it is going to help us change the dynamics of what we are complaining about today.
Sure.
That is the key. Education is the key.
Yeah.
In every country, if you want to see the state they are, look at the nature of their educational system.
Education system
mirrors the economy. It mirrors the productivity in the economy. That is the key.
Exactly.
So I want to really appreciate you for this session once again. I know viewers, you've learned a lot from me. Anyone who watch or will watch, please, this is the LTV channel. I need you to subscribe to it, like this video, share it, and we will come your way with awesome personalities who will tell us their life from the education point, from the career point. Whatever we will talk are real issues. We are not sugarcoating anything. To let you know that these are the things when we follow them, it will make our lives beautiful, fulfilling, and will make our spiritual life intact. No more frustrated prayers, seeking some magical means that God should do something for us out of the blue. No, God is a logical person, and He has given us that ability already in us. When we expose ourselves to the right environment, like I did, we will find ourselves in pursuit of careers that will set us beyond even our wildest imagination. Thank you, Seben.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to share. Thank you very much.